Hi, and welcome to this presentation on work offset transformation defaults. As you know, ESPRIT TNG uses work offset transformations to support the different machine functions that transform the program coordinate system. Using the proper transformation creates better code that is easily readable and editable, and it allows the usage of specific commands such as can cycles or tool diameter compensation. Not using the right command can lead to bad programming and an error on the machine. In order to facilitate programming and minimize risk of user mistakes, you can now set a default transformation for a given context. Defaults are saved and associated to the machine. Inside the machine settings, you can specify a default transformation per category of operation. Like with all machine settings, machine defaults are set in the MPRJ file that you can edit with Machine Tool Builder. In ESPRIT, the settings are visible when editing the machine settings, and you can override the value for the document if needed. For each category, the transformation can be defaulted to none or no transformation, translate for a local XYZ shift, rotate with the system automatically choosing the rotation, or rotate where the rotation is manually specified. In this case, the default is the feature plane. Finally, you can choose RTCP or undefined, in which case ESPRIT defaults to the last used transformation like other technology parameters. In order to specify each transformation default, we have 8 categories. First is milling Z+. Here you can choose the default work offset transformation for any milling operation with a tool orientation that is fixed along the Z+ direction of the machine coordinate system. Most typically, this will be vertical milling. Next, we have milling XYZ. Here we can choose the default work offset transformation for any milling operation with a tool orientation that is fixed parallel to a main axis of the machine coordinate system. For example, index milling at a 90-degree angle. Next, we have milling tilted. Here we can choose the default work offset transformation for any milling operation with a tool orientation that is fixed along an axis that is not parallel to a main axis. For example, index milling at a 45-degree angle. Next, we can choose default work offset transformations for wrap milling, 5-axis milling, turning, or EDM. Let's start MTB and open up the example machine supplied in this script folder. Let's edit the custom data and look for the default transformations group. Here we can define the default transformation for each category. For milling Z+, let's specify none. For milling XYZ, let's specify rotate automatic yes. For milling tilted, let's set rotate automatic no. For wrap milling, let's specify none. And for 5-axis milling, let's specify RTCP. Now let's save this under a different name. And let's see how ESPRIT uses this information while programming. Let's see how ESPRIT uses this information while programming. Open the file provided with this script and edit the machine setup. Notice that the default transformations are all listed as undefined, but we'll pick a new machine to the one that we edited in MTB. Now the default transformations are those that we set within the MPRJ. Edit the pocket operation. And notice that the work offset transformation is set to rotate with an automatic rotation of yes. The operation is associated to G54 that was digitized at 0 degrees. The tool orientation is along Y+, therefore the system selects the default transformation for the category milling XYZ. Let's copy this operation and paste it onto 14 pocket. Let's edit the resulting operation. And notice now that the default is set to rotate with no automatic rotation. ESPRIT reevaluates the default transformation for the context of the new operation. The new operation is also associated to G54 that was digitized at 0 degrees. The tool orientation is not, however, along X, Y, or Z axes. Therefore, the system selects the default transformation for the category milling tilted, i.e. rotate automatic no. Let's change the transformation type to translate and press OK. Now let's again copy this operation and paste it onto the 16 pocket. And let's edit this newly created operation. And we'll notice that this time the work offset transformation is still set to translate. It was not reevaluated like in previous steps. ESPRIT reevaluates the default transformation for the context of the new operation only if the source of the parameter was set to default. When the user overrides the default transformation, the process keeps this value. But we can right-click and set a system default, and the defaults will be reevaluated so that we get the default transformation type set in the machine project file. Now, let's copy the pocket operation to 15 pocket. And we'll edit this operation. Now we can see that the work offset transformation is set to none. Click OK, and let's create the cycle to find out why. The new operation has been associated to the work offset G55, and that has been digitized at A-90 and C180. Therefore, the orientation of the tool at the work offset orientation is Z+ and not Y-. ESPRIT selects the default transformation for the category milling Z+, which was none. Finally, in the part operation list, let's select all of the operations, and we can specify the default work offset transformation for all operations simultaneously. Now let's edit the pocket operations, and we'll see that we have our default transformation types for all operations.